Welcome. This is a welcome for the replay. Anybody watching this on a replay, going live right now. I'm going to wait just a little bit for people to get into the room, for people that want to interact live. The purpose of today's video is that I did a bunch of updates to my bathroom quick tool package, and it doesn't mean that you need to purchase it, because you can create these kind of same tools yourself, and I'll go over that throughout this live video. But main purpose of this video is to show how to use these tools and why they're so efficient at creating a bunch of different bathroom types. So I'll build out a couple different bathroom types, and the main thing I was focusing on when I was creating this kit was being able to show hardware in our shower glass. And then just being able to make a good looking bathroom shower very quickly. So I do have bath tools that are included in this. We'll go over that briefly, but mainly I'm going to be looking at creating showers. So I had a recent project. It was about 7 different showers, and I just wanted to do it more efficiently. So I went through and kind of overhauled my tools. This was one of my first toolkits that was available for purchase, and we never really reviewed the methods. I showcased it once to just show that I can build a shower in 1 minute with these tools, but that's not really that interesting anymore. It's more about, can we get a good looking shower in an efficient amount of time? Yes, we can. And what's even better than that is I like working in 3D. So I'm going to show you how you can build a shower with this kit in 3D. I rebuilt a bunch of the tools so that you could do it efficiently in 3D. So I'll go over what these tools are. And let's start with, I've got custom placed library objects. You can always find the custom placed library objects video on my YouTube channel. That's a good one for just explaining how to add these items to your toolbar for yourself. And I created my own icons, fashioned them to look a lot like Chief Architect's icons. So that's what we've got going on here. So all of these items we'll review at some point how you can create this for yourself if you didn't feel like purchasing it. Because you know what? All the stuff that I make, you can make yourself if you'd like to. It's just that I've already made it and tested it, and I know it works well. So first item in this list is just an architectural block. Great thing about architectural blocks, you can actually click and place them in 3D and they will place appropriately. So what this architectural block, we've got a number of different rain head showers. I've got combination shower valve diverter. I've got a shower valve with a shower head, and this symbol in the symbol class, and when we open it up, I have uniform stretch planes placed in between the valve and the shower head, so that when you stretch this out, it doesn't stretch the symbol itself. And then I've got a wand, I've got an LED light that I like to use, and an exhaust. And then what looks like a shower surround is actually a cabinet. Now here's what it is. It's a cabinet with a zero material painted on the outside and a tile painted on the inside. Now, the purpose of this actually isn't to leave it in place. The purpose of this is to size your shower in 3D. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this, and I've got my menu set to double click to get my edit menu here. I'm going to explode this architectural block, and now I can select this cabinet. Now I'm going to switch to just a vector view so we can see this a little bit better. There we go. So here we go. I want to draw a shower that from the sheetrock to the curb is 42 inches. So all I have to do is drag this cabinet out 42 inches. Now the purpose of this is that my next item in this kit is a pre-done curb assembly. It's actually a railing. It's a railing with a 4.5 inch curb and then a 0 inch material up to 76 inches. So when I click, and if I do this very carefully, if I click on the edge of this cabinet face and draw this out, I've now drawn my curb in place. Pretty cool, huh? Now the next item I have is a half wall. Kind of the same assembly. It's just set to be 42 inches off the ground. There we go. Now I've got my half wall. I can get rid of this cabinet now. That's all I was using it for. I was just using it so that in 3D I can draw this out to the correct size. From here, I have a style palette that remembers a room style that has a structure with a 2-inch mortar bed. I paint that. It also gets rid of the molding. So now I have no molding, a 2-inch mortar bed. I've raised this shower up a couple inches. I'm going to use my backsplash tool. I'm going to paint this on both sides here. So we quickly have our surround. We do need to edit this because it will always cut to that upper wall assembly here. So I do need to drag this out. Now I could do this very precisely, or I can just kind of do it arbitrarily. Totally up to you. When efficiency is on the line, I don't really care if it's, perfect or not necessarily, because that certainly looks good enough. Now the next items are a series of doors. I have a door that's specifically meant to be open. I have one that's specifically meant to be shown shut. We'll use the open one. I'm going to place that in plan. And you can see here, it has a particular hinge that I have. I used a 60-degree hinge that I created and then applied it to this door. Now I can, of course, reflect about, and it's going to sink those hinges into the wall, and you're not really going to see them. Now, when this door places, it's actually tucked up against the drywall. So I want this about half inch off that backsplash. So I'm going to slide this over, hit my tab or enter key, and then type in my half-inch offset. There we go. Next item I have here is a full height panel, and it's got a single bracket on the bottom. Now it might be that I want a double bracket, who knows. There is a little bit of a hiccup in Chief Architect with bumps turned on or bumps turned off. When I slide this over, it's not going to let me resize this over. That's for sure. And I'm not exactly sure what that's about, but I do know a workaround. So I'm going to turn bumps off with my F11 key, and I'm going to slide this over until it's kind of aligned on that vector line right there. And now I can resize this to the corner. Okay, and I'm actually going to drag this all the way to the corner. Now I might want to switch this and say that it's going to be a double hinge bottom. So I do have this in my kit. I have a couple different door panels. If I click on shower doors, there's a double bracket, I should say. There we go. Now the next thing is I actually want a corner bracket here. So I'm going to switch this over, get into my hardware panel, in my hinges, change that hinges to I've got a plate corner bracket. You're going to see here it might be flipped the wrong way. I can, of course, go into my edit toolbar, which is up here on the right-hand side. For anybody else, if you've got default edit, it might be on the bottom of your screen. And I'm going to just flip. There we go. I'm going to flip that swing side. So now I've got a corner bracket. Pretty clever. Let me drop this next piece in here. It's just another panel. I can flip this about itself, drag it again to the corner, drag it again to the drywall. I do have a couple different benches in this kit. You would need to get rid of this line drain. I might just reflect this line drain about and get rid of these two other drains. I can, of course, center that line drain up in 3D. So this is what's nice about this workflow is you can do this completely in 3D. Now, again, that placed against the drywall, so I'm going to drag it out a 1/2 inch. And I might drag this close to the curb. I might drag it through the curb. I could actually drag this through the curb and adjust my panels around it if I wanted to. So that's another thing about this kit. You can do that as well. So already in a few minutes time, we have what looks like a pretty good looking bathroom shower. Let me switch to a standard view. We'll just turn a line over on this, get a better idea of what we're looking at. Now notice we're missing a bracket here kind of in the middle. If we added a bracket, it would be problematic. It wouldn't be quite tall enough because it's really going to be in the middle of this panel. So something I added to this whole system was if you go back into that hardware tab, what we're looking at is the exterior side of this door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an exterior handle. You type in RD for Rabbit Design Shower, and you're going to get to a bunch of different items. Now you can see here I've got a plate corner bracket that is in fact a class of a symbol called a door handle. It's specifically modeled to be a door handle. You can see in the preview, hopefully you can see in that preview, there you go. You can see it's placing where a door handle would be placed, but this is supposed to be a fixed panel. We don't need a door handle. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some crazy number here. In from door edge, 300 inches. It's going to place it all the way to that outside edge. And now I can adjust the height of this. Let's call it 44 or something like that. Not exactly sure. And there we go. We've got a second bracket, and it's placed and I can adjust this on the fly. So really quick system for building out pretty elaborate showers. Let's go ahead and build a totally different shower. Let's try something else. Same thing, I'll drop this kit in, right? Explode it. Maybe I want a 5-foot standoff here. Something like that. Actually, let's make this a lot wider. Let's click on this face right here and make this a lot wider. Much bigger shower. There we go. Now I'm going to get right on top of this, make sure that's snapped, snap it to this corner. There we go. I want to get right on top of this because sometimes it's a little tough to snap this perfectly in 3D. And then I can get to my curb. Get right on top of this again, snap this in 3D. Now, if they didn't line up perfectly, that's okay. We can always use that centering in our edit toolbar. You're going to see if they don't line up. If you're in a vector line view, you can see that didn't quite line up, right? So you can always hit your center. Actually, I'm having trouble seeing it right now. Might be that I have to switch to plan view. Let's give it a shot. Okay, so that's all nice and lined up. So I'll show you another little system putting together a couple of these pieces. We'll throw a door in here. We'll throw that single height panel in here. And mind you, I've got to drag this past again and then drag it back. I'm going to drag it up to that half wall there. And then I've got this other panel. Flip it about itself. Drag this in line. There we go. And of course, I'm going to change that to that in the hardware. I'm going to change this to that corner bracket. Same thing. Pop this piece in place. We can get rid of this cabinet now, get that out of the way, and slide this over. Let's convert this to that shower room. Use our backsplash, paint this in place. I'm going to drop a niche in here. It's a custom built symbol. It's meant so that you can paint the inside and sides a different color, as well as it has a grout line. So that's kind of cool. Paint this backsplash. It'll cut around that. Now, if you drew the niche in second, you can see here that the backsplash doesn't always cut because it's a symbol instead of a niche tool, right? So all you got to do is you can rebuild or you can open and shut and it will cut for that. No problem. Now, if you use this room painter in the room paint mode, it will automatically paint that backsplash the same material as the rest of the tile here. Notice that this cutaway got in the way. We can of course delete that, clean it up just a little bit. I also include in this kit a transom window. It's built out of a wall cabinet. It's a 0-inch wall cabinet with a hinge top door, and the door symbol itself has a symbol bounding box that's half the height of the actual symbol, which is how this is created. So if I hover my mouse over one of these lower wall assemblies, it's going to place up against the top here, and then I can center it up wherever I need it to be centered. And then you can use your edit toolbar to open or shut that transom. Kind of cool, huh? So using that offset that we have with our door handle, you can of course drag this all the way up to. In this case, we might want to switch the swing side of this, right? So the hinge is on this side. We can change the style of hinge. See, I've got a couple different ones here. I have to play around with which one it is. Yeah, this one's got an offset. In this case, you're going to have to mess around with this in up from bottom. So before that kind of lines it up. There we go. You can flip this one around, or you can even, let's just drag this up into place. Let's make that hinge offset 4 inches again, same thing. And you can copy, paste, hold, reflect about itself, and add a hinge, just like we did on that previous one. In fact, this one's going to be, let's see, we'll do a double hinge. I'm just going to pin this comment real quick. Hey, Laura, thanks for chiming in. I love getting comments, by the way. I'm sure you guys have questions. These are all door symbols. That's all these are. So I created door symbols, and they're adding hinges onto a door just like you would a normal door. So if I just drop a regular door in here and I go and open up the dialog box for this door, in the hardware panel, we actually have an option to use a specific hinge. So you can go locate a hinge. In this case, I have a set of hinges that I've converted. So I can put a plate door hinge on this door very easily. And you can see there it goes. It's showing up. So that's all we're doing with these. They're basically 1/2-inch panels with door hinges on them. And then I also converted some of those door hinges to door handles so that we had a little bit more versatility in just how many hinges we can put in place. So I do sell this kit. I sell this whole bathroom kit. Right now it's $60. I'm going to end up raising it up probably at the end of the day. I haven't loaded the new tools yet. So if you buy it today, you'll get an emailer out later on. But if you want to create it yourself, we have these plate hinges in the library. So you can create it yourself. It takes a little bit of practice getting everything to line up and everything. This system is meant to have a half wall at a specific height and have this door panel at a specific height, so everything lines up. So I'll just show, just how dynamic of a look we can get in this. I'm going to get rid of this door, and I'm going to trade it out for one that's open, and maybe we'll flip that hinge side or drag this into place. Flip it so that it's into the wall there. And let's pull a regular camera, and maybe we can get a good shot of this whole thing. I'll even paint a custom tile on here. I've got some favorites. Let's see. I like Wow Tile. If you guys are unfamiliar with that particular vendor, I love their tile. Oh, this is kind of a wild one. Let's do this one. Let me get rid of one of these rainmakers. I think it's always easier to put more in than you need and then delete as necessary. So I put a lot in that architectural block so that I can delete these things. Seems to be easier to me. Anytime you paint inside of my wall niche, let's just show, I'm going to concentrically resize this, and then I'm going to space it out so that it takes over this grout line just by do that at the top here. Now my material, this particular material is set to, and let me open up this this backsplash so that it gets cut right. There we go. This is set to global symbol mapping, which means it's going to, as we stretch a symbol out, it's going to follow that symbol. So that's a good thing to note. And I'm going to actually take this tile and kind of blend it with a white, just because I'd like to see that look a little bit better. You can watch this tutorial again. Yeah, it's in my live sessions on YouTube. So, but yes, I'll make sure to go ahead and publish this. All right, so I have the backsplash all stretched out. We've got one can light in there, not quite enough to light this room. We'd probably put some other lights in here. You can put a window in here. Maybe we'll drop in just a couple other can lights. I want to see what this looks like in PBR. And we'll let this just kind of sit for a second. Maybe we'll put one more window in here. Yeah, looking pretty sharp. Of course, we could do like kind of prefer a line over for showing bathrooms for some reason. Yeah, that just really shows up in a good way. Let's do another one. We'll do a kind of an inside-outside one. Inside corner. We've got some new capabilities in X14. Let me switch to my overview camera. Okay, I'm going to drop this architectural block in there. And I don't know, what should we do here? Let's go. Let's say we've got a regular wall, actually, just an interior wall for parts of this. Snap it on this side. And then maybe we'll come in off of this side, make a little niche here. We've all kind of done this one before. All right, there's our little half wall. There's my curb. Oops. Got to explode it before I deleted that cabinet. Paint my backsplash. This is the great thing in X14. They finally made, before we had to use a corner board and we had to hack that corner, open that corner board a couple times and tell it to be a half an inch for it to actually apply. And so that was kind of problematic. But now, let me cross the path of these two. I think there's also a glitch with applying a backsplash to one of these. Yeah, it wants to apply it to that inside beeline. So might need to get clever with this. Even if you stretch this, sometimes it pulls away. Oh no, that seemed to work. But yeah, now we've got these outside corners and they actually miter. Very clever. Loving that as a new feature. So even though this panel is a double bottom hinge, you can always open this up and you can make it just a slab if you wanted to, or you can switch it up and make it that single. I've got a single here. So, and that stretches appropriately. Very quick there. So we can do that panel there. We can throw a panel next to that. And to flip about itself, there we go. We can even make that a three hinge if we want to in our hardware. Just designate number of hinges 3. And we got a bracket right there. Or you could do that trick that I did with the door handle. It's probably a better trick. Let's do that one more time. So we're looking at the exterior side. I need an exterior door handle. RD shower will get me there. Just use this double door and then put in some extreme number up from bottom. In this case, we're going to make it like 33 or something like that. There we go. That should look pretty good. And then I can drop in my door again or leave this open if you'd like. It's going to render as just open in this case, right? Looks like I forgot a backsplash here. This case, I'd probably put a bench in this recess there. Yeah, learn some stuff. Cool. Yeah. Well, and ask questions if you've got any questions. you know, I mean, look how fast we're building these showers out. We've been live for 24 minutes and we're taking our time, and we've got 3 showers that are somewhat elaborate. Let me show you just the bathroom, I should say the bath kit. I haven't updated the cabinet symbol on this, so we can't do it in 3D yet, but we will be able to, just like we did these other ones. So the bath kit is kind of the same thing. Drops the symbol in here. Let me just draw a wall out, so we've got something for this to bind to. All right, so we've got our wall here. Let me extend that path. Let's just say we've got a 5-foot bathroom or whatever this is. I'm going to explode this architectural block. In this case, we actually don't need this cabinet, so we'll get rid of that. And then for the bath, I have a special custom wall. So whatever tub you're using, you draw this wall out so that it's centered on your tub deck. So you have to manually place that, which means you might need to hold your control key to override bind so that you can get this exactly in the middle of that tub deck, right? And if you've got features in the face of your tub deck, you want to get it away, just away enough, far enough from that tub deck, right? And so let's take a look at what I'm even looking at here. So we've dropped in a bathtub, and then we have this wall. So the next thing we're going to do with this is the next symbol is actually a door symbol that's specifically made to make this be an operable bath door. So only thing I need to do then is I like to drop in backsplash on this side and then, you know, cut it to exactly where I want it to cut it to. A lot of times with baths, I'm wrapping this, bringing this all the way down. We don't have this room enclosed, but I might convert this base molding. All right, so I'm going to convert that CA base molding, and then I'm going to drag this back to the point where it does not reach my backsplash anymore, and I'm going to say no molding on this edge. There we go. So I've cut that base molding to the backsplash. Maybe I want this backsplash, I don't know, 12 inches off the ceiling line there. And then now finally I can copy reflect about center of the room, and let's just drop a backsplash back here as well. Drag this down 12 inches, very precise, easy. The only other thing I want to do now is concentrically resize this guy just so we show some side rails. And then looking at this in PBR, it's going to look pretty sharp. I saw someone just made a sale. Just keep in mind, I'm going to get to you a little bit later with these updates. So these symbols aren't quite packaged yet, but I should have them packaged by the end of the day. So there we go. Quickest bath setup you could do. And then the great part about this is we can flip that hinge side if we want to. We can show it open or shut. Isn't that clever? Cool, huh? Let's see, what did this say? Your kitchen, quick tools, and shower and bathroom shop. Are you planning a Black Friday discount in November? I don't know. I haven't decided on that. I think they are priced very low, actually. And the people that have purchased them have told me the same. In fact, I'm going to start pushing some people to start giving me some reviews. So I don't know if I'll be dropping the price on them. I think they're priced lower than I even like. Especially the kitchen tools, man. There's 350 items in that toolkit, and they recoup their cost in a day. Let's see. That's your Premiere Pro plan. The only thing the Premiere Pro plan includes is my quick windows. So, which is, I'm expanding on that pretty soon. And in fact, I have another video where I'm going to show you one of the tools in my quick windows tools is an easy way to make cabinet doors. I've got a tool here that just turns this into a sash window. If I know what I'm doing, there we go, object. And from there, if you've got, let's just say this is a gable roof, and let's just say that we've got no ceiling in this room. And if I move this window over and tell it to match the roof shape, I've got a custom cabinet door right there, right? Convert this to a door. There you go. You got a cabinet door. Set your stretch planes. Very simply, you can make some very custom stuff with that. So that's kind of cool. The other thing that I have in terms of quick tools for the plan template is just being able to one click change something to a casing, awning, double casement, triple casement. Just makes life a little bit easier. But yeah, that's the only thing that's included in the plan tools. I'm responding to this comment. For CU96821, I have an architectural block that has a cabinet in it. If you missed the first part of the show, when I'm doing these, when I'm building out these showers, let me just close this. Close this plan out. Why not? Let's just do a new plan. When I build these showers out, I like to do them in 3D. And you can do that in 3D if you drop in a 0-inch cabinet. So that's what I'm talking about, is when I place this architectural block in the corner, this is a 0-inch cabinet, and I can snap my walls to this and spec the size of my shower based on this cabinet. So there you go. You see it's a 59-inch, 4'11" drywall to drywall, so a 5-foot typical bathroom. And if I want to resize this to, say, a 6-foot shower, that's easy enough, especially if you click on the face. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a dimension string right there that I can look at. 72 inches. There's a 6-foot shower. Easy for me to then draw my curb as a 6-foot shower. And then once I'm done with that, I can, of course, delete that cabinet. So that's what I meant by deleting the cabinet. And thank you, Susan. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Hoping you're enjoying that stuff. So very cool. Is there any other shower people would like me to see build? I can come up with a million different conditions for showers and the solutions I've come up with for this system. I don't think I've run into a shower I can't build with this system. And that's what's been nice. So, oops, what happened here? I lost it. Let's fill window. Oh, fill window's not going to work either. Good old fill. This kit does include my flip up bench. Has got its own little custom icon here. That's a nice one. It's an operable flip bench. Right? Kind of clever. So this is just a curb shower. That's not all that uncommon either. Same kind of thing. Now, I drew the backsplash before I sprayed the room, and you see it auto cuts to that baseboard, which is problematic. So I don't like that. So instead, I always spray the room first, which converts it to my shower room. Then it gets rid of that molding, and now backsplash will automatically cut to that surface. There you go. Drop my backsplash in here. We could actually time this if we wanted to. See how quickly we can build this stuff out. I will edit this architectural block so this stops cutting for that symbol. That just means that symbol is just a little bit off, maybe a 16th inch or something like that. But again, here's that closed door. Let's just look at this in vector. Closed door, panel door. Just to repeat what we're doing again. Can slide that over. Maybe you've got a couple different panel doors. Let's change this to a corner hinge in that hardware tab under the hinge section. That corner bracket. Might need to flip the door orientation. Here we go. Same thing. We can copy paste this right here. Easy enough. Take this, drag it out to the edge. Again, very, very quick showers. We can do multiple different transom setups with that transom tool. Can just hover over the curb. That'll drop this transom in. Sometimes it orients itself in a different way, which is funny. So I like to just kind of place it a little offset and then center it up on your door. It's maybe a simpler solution. If you want to be very precise on this, I think this is the transom by default's 8 inches. If you want to just resize this as well. Just keep in mind that this symbol is twice the height that it reports as. That's the only way we can make it operable. If you didn't want it operable, you could of course convert it or just use a door symbol instead. But if you wanted to show it open or shut, you know, for whatever reason, purposes, rendering, you name it, you're going to have to resize it here. And just keep in mind, if I want a 12-inch tall one, it's going to be 6-inch tall, which means that this needs to now go up 4 inches. Let's see, maybe a corner shower with a corner angled curb. Corner shower with a corner angled curb. Oh, yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Understood. Maybe I should put a corner cabinet in there. That's a good ad. Good suggestion. Let's do that. So here, we'll drop the kit in there and we'll just do it on the fly. So we'll open this up and we're going to say this is 36. I'm going to select the face. And this is actually a blank face. So you can select anywhere. Even though it doesn't look like it, it's actually a blank front face. So you can select that anywhere. I'm going to shrink this down to 36 inches. Is 36 right? I'm not sure that that's right. Let's see. So cabinet style, corner. Cabinet width must be greater than its depth, of course. Let's see. I don't mess with corners enough to know what I'm doing here. Let's do left side width 0 inches. Does that get me anywhere? No. That was all wrong. Let's see. Left side width 4 inches. We do a corner cabinet. Let's instead just do this a whole different way. Let's in fact just drop in a base cabinet and make it auto do a corner. We need to get rid of any symbols in the way for it to do that. So in fact, maybe we won't drop this kit in first. Start at a different corner. Let's go base cabinet. There we go. That's kind of automatic corner. Now we can kind of shrink this up to that, right? Now, if you say that this has no countertop, makes it a little bit easier. Also, it's going to have no toe kick. In fact, you can just select the toe kick and delete it that way. Let's just call this a blank. Let's get rid of our separation. Now this is a little bit of a piece of a kit, right? And then height 96 inches. So there's our corner. Then we can snap in and kind of want to do this from the top down. There we go. That should get me there. Should be able to just use the continuation handle. Okay. Same thing. We should paint this room a shower. That'll get rid of that molding. Let's get the, oops, that backsplash tool painted. Span this out a little bit. So in this case, I actually do have, I didn't think I was going to need this, but I actually do have a 45 hinge. So let me try this real quick. Or you can just switch to the plate hinges. But I think I actually have a 45. Here we go. Look at that. Clever, right? So we'll switch that swing side. Bam. And then this should just drop in, no problem. Stretch this in a little bit. Maybe not the most realistic looking one. I didn't exactly spec the sizes and everything right, but yeah, that's pretty quick too. Cool. Thanks for that suggestion. Can you show a channel between the glass and the pony wall is this next item? A channel between the glass and the pony wall. So you can, let's just let's show what that looks like. So my pony wall is all kind of the same size. It might be problematic if you were to try to resize it. You might have to make your own custom things because the first thing that I want to think of when I'm doing that is I feel like that just wants to be another door handle symbol, right? So let me get to another corner where I haven't drawn something. So let's draw a half wall out. And I'll just draw it all the way out. That's fine. We'll just close this up so we can get to something decent looking. So from our top down, all I'm going to do then is draw a wall elevation. And this is just to make sure I've got the right size channel. You could do this a couple different ways. You could, make a molding, simple enough. Do it that way. But the other way you could do it is you could just do it from solids if you wanted to. So I just wanted to make sure I've got this sized appropriately, and maybe your channel is 5/8 of an inch, like that. Just make sure that's is close enough in size. It doesn't need to be absolutely perfect. I can get rid of this now. I know this is 12 inches, so if I just drag this back, we're going to need 1/2 inch plus 1/8 of an inch on either side. So this is going to be 3/4 inch, so 11 1/4. Okay. And if we look at this from the top down, we could say we want to copy this in place and then shrink this piece down like that. And then actually, let me do that again. I'm going to copy this, right? I'm going to grab this edit handle. I'm going to drag it down, hit my tab or enter key, make sure it's 1/8 of an inch, right? And then I can drag this past and select the first item, subtract it, subtract the second item. Now you have a channel. Now convert it to a symbol, and we're going to say it's hardware and shower channel. Advanced options. In your options panel, treat this as a handle, okay? And then let's see what it takes to get this to make it work. You're going to need to open the symbol class again. Basically, what we want it to do is say it's like 1.5 inch handle. Let's see. How does that work? I'm going to have to think about that one. I think we just get to apply it. Let's get to one of these panels that's already done so we could apply it. Or in fact, let's just drop in a new plan. Same thing. Open this guy up, explode the block. I'm going to draw a 1/2 inch. Excuse me. I'm going to draw this half wall here, half wall here. Let's draw that curve out. I'll make sure that's centered up. And then let's drop this panel in here and see what we can make work with that symbol we just created. So there's that panel. I'm going to add, this is the exterior side. So on the handle, I'm going to add from here. Here's that shower channel we just created. Let's see what happens with this. So up from bottom, let's say it's 4.5. In fact, it's 0 actually. And then you should be able to just slam this to the other side. That's pretty much it. In this case, you'd have a little bit of problem just because you've got these hinges. So you might say hidden hinges, and you might need to add an interior handle as well if you wanted some kind of plate or something like that. There we go. So we've got a channel. Only problem with that channel, it's too tall. In from door edge, up from bottom. So you might have to guess and check with that symbol. Shrink it down a little bit. I made it the full height of the wall. I shouldn't have done that. I should have subtracted that 4.5 inches. Should actually be able to do that right from here. Let's retain aspect ratio minus 4.5 inches. Let's see if we can't just do a hot swap here. Yeah, it put it on the interior side, but that's fine. So the only other thing is this is offset. So we'd have to have an offset here. So in the symbol itself, look at its sizing. Its depth is 3/4 of an inch. We need a 3/4 inch offset in the Y plane. Now when we swap this out, it's lined up. There you go. There you got a channel. Cool, cool suggestion. Let's see. How do you add the toolbar once downloaded? I have a couple different methods for this, but so Chief Architect has no possible method right now for transferring an individual toolbar. Okay, so you can't transfer an individual toolbar, which means that you'd have to build one out yourself. Either that, or you'd have to take on my entire toolbar set and then delete items that you don't have in your library, which is going to be quite a few items. The kitchen quick tools have about 45 items in it. I've got architectural tools, maybe about 10 items. I got fireplace tools, maybe about 10 items. So I have close to, I think, 150 custom library objects. And there are what looks like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 16, 17, 18, 19, maybe 19 different objects in this kit. Another thing that comes in this kit, I'll just show it to you since we just kind of brought this up in a way, is if I pull a wall elevation through this. Now, wall elevations are going to bind to a room. So what we have now in X14, edit your active view, unclip to room. Now you have sections that you can drag out to get the rest of the room in this. And then a couple of quick little items I have here. If we click on this item, shower standards, this just drops in an architectural block that's actually scaled like a 1-to-1. So if we explode this block and then just do a point-to-point move to the floor here and then slide it back over, and we can block it back up again. Well, there we go. Now we have some reference marks for some of this stuff so that you can actually slide some of this stuff into place and get it to line up with a reference. So a very quick and easy way to detail out a shower. I include standards for a bath, same thing. There's a bath standard block, and then I have a fixture standard block, which is for accessory fixtures. So this is all included in this kit. That's some nice stuff. A couple other things that are included in here. I've got a quick couple sinks that I include that are my own custom sink and faucet combination together. So one click, add a sink, add a faucet together. That's kind of nice. Other than that, I mean, I've got a vanity assembly, which might need some updating. I haven't touched it in a while. And you'd have to rotate this. You got to select on some item at the top, face of that item so that you can rotate it in 3D, and then unblock it, slam it up against the wall. So I got a single vanity block. I need to put my snaps on. There we go. I think I have a double vanity block in here. I have just an icon to place a mirror, which is a beveled mirror. If we look at this in vector, it's actually got some slight beveling to it. And it's made so that it can stretch out and retain that same bevel profile. So a couple little other items in this kit, not too big. Yeah, anybody have any other shower? You can post images of showers if you've got a particular challenging shower that you think would be tough to recreate. I think I created kind of a cool shower for just I created kind of a crazy shower just for an example shower. We can take a look at this real quick, just how it's rendered out. So I modeled this shower in probably about 20 minutes. You're going to see we're going to lag a little bit. This is loading up my encoder a bit. So same thing, utilizing all these tools. In fact, it's not even utilizing that custom hinge as a handle. We can pop that up all the way to the top here and have it connect to that transom window. You can see this is how I color code stuff if I want to go take it into another software. I see this first comment. You're going to post a link in a second comment, hopefully. And I might need to go to Facebook to grab it. That's fine. You can post a picture. I'll go take a look. I don't know how to actually find this, huh? Oh, there we go. Is that it? Yeah. Yeah, if you post a picture here, I can grab it right now. So just let me know. Or a link to, if you just copy the image link, that works too. Oh, the wow tile? Yeah, absolutely. I love wow tile. Let me get back to pin that comment. I'll show you the ones I've created too. Got a couple of them. So this is the manufacturer right here. I'll limit my sample rate, so we're only going to see so much of this. Let's just drop this down to like 12. Oops. There's one. That one's not my best. This one's pretty good. It's got a little bit of speckle in it. It's kind of dynamic. That one's got a big standoff to it. Diamond shape looking thing. Yeah, they have a bunch of geometric tile. And then they also have like some crazy like inlay looking stuff like this. That's all randomized. Kind of cool. Can we create a zero threshold tile? I mean, shower, yes. Although I haven't tried it. So you guys are catching me off guard. That's cool. Let's put me on the spot. Let's see. Let's do a new plan. So the zero threshold, pretty much all you're going to be doing, we'll just do you want to put a half wall in it just to kind of show the difference. I'll draw that out and let's just say that's the zero threshold part, right? Let's see what this looks like. I think the only difference is we're going to be moving our door down, and we have to go in and mess around with this assembly a little bit. So I do like spraying this just so that we get rid of that base molding. But in that case, we'd have to actually go back and get rid of my, oh, let's see. We lost the invisible wall. I thought I'd draw one in. Maybe I didn't. And you probably want this to that outside edge, unless you're just going to tile in the, maybe you're going to tile the whole room, more likely, right? Oh, that wasn't connected. You need to return this in order to get it to snap to the room. There we go. So in this case, really all I'm going to do is just change this to, we can change this to bath, but we're going to get into that moldings category and just delete this. Simple enough. So in that case, you don't need that first item really, unless you just want to, drop in all the fixtures. Only problem with this is, so here's where that cabinet symbol comes into place. So let's back up a little bit. Sometimes with that invisible wall, you get a problem. Oh, and I'm as far back as I can go. Let me select these, get rid of them. So let's do that invisible wall again. I'm going to come off of this edge. I'm going to drop this in. This does create, I thought it created a room, but it doesn't. There we go. There's the room. Yeah, so use floor defaults, delete this. Should be able to, without this architectural block, spray that backsplash. So if I break this architectural block and delete this cabinet, does the backsplash spray? No, see, it goes all the way across. So this is the original reason I had that cabinet in there. With a cabinet in there, if we drop this, the height of this cabinet down, all the way down to 0 inches, right? Now it's a 0-inch cabinet. Now when we spray that backsplash, it's not going to spray across the whole wall. It's just going to snap to that cabinet, which is kind of clever. So paint whatever material you want on your floor. Oops. And the last bit here is that my door assemblies are going to be funny. Can we slide this over into our 0-inch nothing door? No, see, you almost have to have, here's what we got to do. We got to take this wall here, extend it. Okay, break it. Set this to invisible. Still doesn't want to place in an invisible wall, so it doesn't need to be invisible. We can just throw this door in there. You gave me a little one I wasn't prepared for. There we go. So if I just drop this down 4.5, it should cut it. Yep, that's exactly right. All right. Only problem with it is it does get in the way of that backsplash. Unless we set that section to be 0-inch. So, which I can do. So break it right on the door assembly. Open it. in the wall types, get rid of the pony wall. It's still going to cut that railing piece unless we set the height to like, does 0 inch work? Let's see. Yeah, it's still showing this half wall section here. So you're going to have to cover that somehow. Other than that, there's your 0 inch curb. Think about this. Maybe there's a way to get rid of this still. I'll get back to you. I mean, you could probably paint it with a global symbol map on this. Let's paint it the other direction. It's easier. Yeah, could do it that way. So change your material property on the wall itself, and then it'll sink into that wall as long as global symbol mapping's turned on. Anybody come in late? Need any questions answered for this kind of stuff? I'll probably close it down. We're at the hour mark. Let's see, with a broken wall, what do we have here? Try to paint it the same. Yeah, the only problem with the walls sometimes, especially on the end caps, the automatic generated end caps, you need to have that done in the wall type itself. You got to change the material in the wall type. It's not going to matter because it's going to automatically cut to that wall assembly. So you could do it with a solid, but then you got to work with solids. Okay, posted a picture in the Facebook group feed. All right, let's take a look at this. We got one more thing. I'm going to do this one last thing for Laura Lou if we can. And let's see, you posted it in the feed. The Rabbit Design feed, I'm assuming. Newest activity. Okay, I see. Let's see if I can get this up on the screen so we can see this. What do you have here? Are we just talking about an angled cabinet? Assuming you've got this angled cabinet right here. Is that what we're talking about? So I would break this up into 2 pieces. It's probably what I would do. I mean, that's really kind of how it's going to be built, more or less, you know. Let's just take this, copy this image. By the way, you can always do this, by the way. Copy this image, Control New for your new deal here, Control V, paste it as a picture, and now I have it as a reference. Pretty simple, right? And then we can even do a point-to-point resize. Let's assume that this is 4.5 inches. In aspect ratio. Now we have something to trace. I'm going to take my existing walls and delete them. We'll just do some new interior walls. Let's go continuous draw mode. Some architect was having some fun, huh? So we've got a cabinet in here right there. That's going to be a 15-inch cabinet. So I would just drop this next cabinet in, take it all the way to the corner, And then because you want to detail out the front face of this, you're going to end up dropping a cabinet in, changing it to an angled cabinet. Angled front cabinet is what I would do. Let's go. I got to figure out orientation here. Is that right? So one of these sides is the back side. It's this side right here is the back side. So I have the angle wrong. So I need to do left depth 24. Let's go right depth 60. Right. So now this is the back side. So when we rotate it like so, that's actually the back side there. So all we're going to do from here is in our front sides back and our front, we can just delete all this if we wanted to, or we can make it a blank. Right. So that can just be a blank area. You're going to end up having to do some trickery with your toe kick. So what I would probably just do is not have that flat back, right? And then if we rotate this around and kind of take a look at what we've got here, this is our front side now, okay? So we're going to go to that back side. And in fact, I did this all wrong. I totally went backwards on this. Let me try this again. This is a simpler way. This is an even faster way. So we know we needed, what was this? This was a right depth is 0 inches. So here we go. Right corner, angled front cabinet, right depth, 0 inches. Okay, front side's back. We're gonna go to the back side, use match front. After you've used match front, and let's go take a look at this, right? That's what it looks like. Now you can do custom face if you want to, which we don't even need to do. We're probably not gonna modify it, but maybe you are. Now we can go back to front and delete all this. That turns it into a blank area. Undo that flat sides, flat back if you want. Flat sides could stay the same. There we go. Now you've got your cabinet. Oops, how did I just do that? Let's see, we're going this way. Should line up. Yeah, there you go. There's your front cabinet. It's operable, which is great. If you want to, you can even, if you were trying to make this look like a single cabinet, you can of course get into your, let's see, we are looking at the front side, that's the back. So your left face could be set to none, right? And then your left face on this one could also be set to none. Now you even have a through cabinet. And of course you could, change this hinge side. It's not going to be the right hinge side. So go to the back face, switch your hinge side, door auto left. There we go. Cool. Good tips. All right, you guys, I'm going to sign off. As always, you can always go watch this video later. And if you watch this video and you have questions, leave comments. I go review that stuff. I get notified. I see it when people leave comments on my YouTube videos. I try to respond to all of them. So you see anything you need there, just let me know and I'll answer to the best of my ability. In the meantime, if you don't want to build that bathroom kit again, it's right now it's $60. It's going to be $80 as soon as I load up the new tools. So if you buy it now, you get all the new tools for $20 off. It's kind of nice. And then yeah, let me know. And yeah, if you have some of my tools, you feel like leaving reviews, I've got on my Facebook page, you can leave a review. In Chief Talk, I've got a thread in symbols and content that's for my shop. You can leave a review there. That's great stuff. It's nice to get reviews. Haven't had many of them besides just some personal notes and things. So very cool. Thanks everyone.